Flim Flam Film fans, and this is what we just watched. It could be a movie, it could be a TV show, it could be a trailer, but this is about the thing that we just watched. This week, we just watched the Netflix movie, The Adam Project. Spoiler warning, we're going to talk about spoilers. If you haven't seen it yet, hit pause, go watch it, come back, we'll wait. But this is about what we just watched, The Adam Project. The Adam Project, just released on Netflix when we watched it. Came out this week. It was my pick. I picked this movie to watch for all of us because it was my week to do that. But also, everyone had already watched Free Guy, and I was like, I need a Ryan Reynolds movie in my life right now. So, the Adam Project came out.
Were you alone when you picked the movie?
Yes.
Like, was your wife away?
No, yeah, I was alone. I was going through it, and then I went because I wanted to find something that was just released on streaming that week. I was like, we haven't watched anything. And Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
But I wanted to see something that was new, just released on streaming. And this happened to come out. So this is Ryan Reynolds, time travel, little boy, and learning about yourself from the future. All sorts of fun stuff.
So want to get more into the little boys?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, so Ryan Reynolds plays a time travel, goes back in time to stop a plot that changes the fate of the future. With the help of his younger self, he must travel further back into the past to stop his father from inventing time travel through the Adam Project, which is the name of the movie, and allowing Maya Sorian from altering time and becoming a tyrannical leader, I guess, was kind of what they were trying to stop from happening.
Sure.
I think he was just trying to get her to stop killing people.
Which I guess would be tyrannical leading, right? That's a tyrannical leader, as far as I'm
concerned. Are we just going to dive right into this whole plot of the movie?
Yeah, let's dive right into the plot.
Let's try right into the plot. Dive in.
So
you feel like you have something to say, Ed, about it.
Maya, played by Catherine Keener, right? So what was the motivation for that character exactly? Was it just to go back in time to manipulate the stock market, or?
Yes. Her whole manipulation, her whole purpose was she went back in time to become rich and powerful and richer.
Because at that point she's already I put in hundreds of millions of dollars for this project.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but she had already been visited by herself.
Yeah, at least
she put in $100 million and had been visited before, so the seeds of power grabbing have started.
She got Biff from Back to the Future once, and then she had to get Biff from the Back to the Future a second time.
Already. She was already rich enough, and then when she gets to the future, she's so rich she has an army of
time traveling super agents.
She needs to be able to get to that point. She needs to be able to get to that point. So she needs to go back in time.
To that point.
Yes, because she went back in time and got herself to that point.
If you think about time travel too much in the movie, it's just not going to make sense.
Let's just run through everything Ed hated about this movie at the beginning.
Well, especially with this character. Take it from there. So especially Catherine Keener's character doesn't make a whole lot of sense as a villain. Her motivations are
money and power. Okay, money and power.
They are weak.
Has money.
They are weak for her character.
Did have power.
She did in the future. They're just weak. They're weak motivations for her character.
She did in the future because she went into the past to give it to herself.
That's fine. It's still a weak motivation for her character to do these things. There's no reason. Her character is just evil for the sake of being evil.
Her character is so driven by money and power when she's already rich. Why? Was there any purpose for her character to need that?
More power. When you have some, you want more. Do we just accept that, or do we need to just tear everything up right now?
But I can accept that.
It makes much sense than somebody going back in time and creating their own money instead of just using the resources they have to generate more money at that point.
That was her resource. Time travel was her resource.
Well, also her vast fortune at the time, which she could have just invested more and more and more, and just whatever.
You don't know at what level her richness was. She could be even more powerful. Now has an army,
Right, yes,
her
we
own
are-
time traveling army. Okay, no, I don't care. Jeff Bezos doesn't have his own time traveling army.
To sell these amazing movies. My point being is that she already has this vast. I don't even know like what they actually did, because she had like this very fancy office park and buildings and security. And she stated, I spent hundreds of millions of dollars just on your technology, which obviously she's not going to spend every penny that she has. Meaning, she probably has a lot more money. So, again, I didn't understand the whole motivation of that character, but I digress.
She may have, at that point, been into the science for the sake of the science, which is
just what they alluded
possible.
to.
Like that might have been part of her motivation, is that she was at that point was into it for the science for the sake of the science. She wanted to see this project that he was working, the Atom Project, come to fruition, to actually do something. She wasn't clear what it would do, and then future her came back and was like, this is what it's going to do, and it's going to make you a bunch of money. But again, weak motivations, not great.
Did the dad understand what his science was going to lead to at that point? Or he was just
he was a theoretical physicist, so it was just theories. Like, it was like, this is what it could do, but we have to be able to do it practically first, and
with
then,
no intention of it doing X, Y, or Z. Is just if he could, right? Okay.
It was never meant to be time travel. It was just about whatever theoretical things that he was trying to figure out. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the weakest part, was the motivation. I mean, were there other weak parts other than the main film?
Ed's going to let us know. Ed, what else?
Yeah, let us know what other thoughts.
Well, this was something I was kind of hoping to wrap up on, but for me, like the whole, not just the villain motivation, but essentially every sci-fi element in this movie just felt like it was there for to get to the end of the movie. Like there was no reason for this movie to exist with that sci-fi element other than to have the action in there.
What do you mean specifically, like sci-fi element? Like, are you talking about time travel as a plot device? Because that's kind of the whole movie.
And I think he's talking about that like drone thing that he was, and any advanced technology is what he's bringing up.
I suppose, yeah, more so. Like the time travel as a plot device, that was fine, but again, like the weird army that could vanish or turn invisible and phase through things, but not when they were being attacked. And the spaceships, I guess, Ryan Reynolds would. It cuts to the end credits, and we see his interaction with his future wife, and he somehow becomes a great. I don't know. It's just the technology stuff outside of the plot of time travel. Just the sci-fi stuff didn't really work for me. It just kind of felt like it was
done or just disappear.
It was unclear. It was unclear whether they were invisible or they were phasing through things.
To me, it was just kind of lazy. Like they just put stuff out there to make it look cool. And I mean, again, if they were like invisible, why would they reappear just so that they could be targeted? Or they're running through people, but then bullets are phasing them, and it like those elements just felt super lazy to me.
No, I think the invisible thing for me was very jarring when I first saw that, because they were like, oh no, they're here, and Ryan Reynolds' character is like, they're here, and they start just phasing in to hit him, and it's like, why are you showing up to hit him? Hit him while he can't see you.
You should have said you should have taken like a bag of flour, throw it up in the air, shot it, exploded everywhere, and then he could have seen flour coming at him.
Yes.
Or like
so they stay invisible to kill. Yes, okay, that's like a thing. But yes.
Or just like take one or two sentences to explain that they couldn't attack him without phasing back to solid form or something like that.
Maybe. A simple throwaway line like that could have helped.
Yeah.
Sure.
They disappear, right? If they got killed in the past, they like disappear from history. Is that why they disintegrate?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Unclear.
They didn't explain anything.
Okay.
but they did kind of touch on how Adam is an incredible pilot, though, because he plays a ton of video games. That was the thing. Like, the dad was like, I should have never gotten him that video game where he was a pilot. And he was just like, and he was really good at that video game. That's kind of
That is true.
That was kind of.
It's okay to be a really good pilot. Han Solo was a great pilot. You never questioned that.
He was in a
war. And then you know what happens when you question that? You get Solo. You get Solo. That's what you get. You ask too many questions.
Nobody has that. Nobody has that question. How did Han Solo become a great pilot? 0 people ask that.
What?
That was an answer to a question nobody asked.
What else? Zoe Saldana's character kind of just showing up out of nowhere. Not really out of nowhere, but
so she had died previously and then came from a different timeline, or she faked her death?
No. She like ejected.
Yeah, she was sent to the past to die, ejected, and then waited the
4 years.
2016.
2018. 2018.
2018 to 2022. Yeah. No, because they I know Ed is laughing because I'm getting the years wrong, but like they were in.
That's not why I'm laughing.
Why?
He's laughing at the fact that she survived. That she was in the past. She survived, and that she survived 4 years to find him.
Is 4 years really hard to survive through? I mean, it was 2020.
No, the fact that
she's in a time you're unfamiliar with,
her, and then dude, come on.
But they clearly knew the history. Like she would have been like, oh no, it's 2019. I better get a cabin in the woods and avoid COVID. That's all she had to do. And that's what she did. She got a cabin in the woods and avoid COVID.
She was part of the military, so she was already vaccinated. So there
you go.
Fine.
She's fine.
So Zoe Saldana as his wife, Jennifer Garner as his mom.
Yeah, I thought she was great. She was the distraught mom of a child who was essentially a young, snarky Ryan Reynolds. How do you deal with that?
Was he snarky Ryan Reynolds, or was he more of a snarky you? He was more of a snarky you.
Snarky Ryan Reynolds.
No.
Don't. Stop trying to equate characters in movies to me. These are the characters in the movie.
I was trying to equate you to a young Ryan Reynolds, and you couldn't even take it. You couldn't even take it because he was snarky. You couldn't.
Like, I don't.
So when I looked up this cast, the Google search where it just shows the cast at the top, I thought the kid they listed would have been the kid that played young Ryan Reynolds, and thank goodness I did a deeper dive because it's not. I think he played the bully, and his real name is Braxton Jerkin.
Bjerken. Yeah, that's the bully.
B. Jerkin. It's spelled Bjerken. I had a good laugh.
It's a good one.
Anyways, he's not the kid that plays young Ryan Reynolds.
No, that's Walker Scobell. I thought he did a great job playing a young Ryan Reynolds.
Playing a very punchable kid, yes.
Yes, he played a very
punchable kid, yes.
Snarky kid who he kept the same level of snark that you would expect from Ryan Reynolds, and Ryan Reynolds played the same Ryan Reynolds character that Ryan Reynolds plays.
I guess so, yeah. They had solid chemistry.
They had
solid chemistry.
They had great chemistry together. He played this same snarky kind of asshole. He runs his mouth too much, so he gets beat up, and Ryan Reynolds ran his mouth too much, and he got beat up. So, that's kind of the way the characters work. And then, so they go back in time, meet Mark Ruffalo, their dad.
Yet again. So they go back in time yet again.
Yeah, they go back in time. They go back to the future, to the past. They never went back to the future. They only went back to the past.
No, they just kind of erased.
But yeah, they went back to, and then
why did they have to talk to his dad? Why did they have to talk to his dad?
Because he was the way in. Like he knew
the way in.
They knew him. He was their way into the project to try and stop it. They were the ones who could use him to stop the project from
Exactly.
becoming.
Just making sure we're getting the plot down. Okay.
I don't like how you guys just
What?
bail out the writers with your excuses, but okay.
I mean,
What
I'm not. What other?
We're talking about the plot right now.
Yeah, we're talking about the conceits of the movie.
What? He didn't do anything. They still went to the facility without him because he bailed. He bailed on his past and future son.
Well, no, his future and future son. They're both his
future and future.
Yeah,
future and future son. My bad.
But yeah,
they went to him to try to get in. You know, he didn't have a schedule.
So, what entry point was he for them necessitating having to visit him in the first place?
Tell him not to do it.
Yeah, they wanted him to just stop on his own. They wanted him to not. They didn't want to have to go in and destroy it themselves. They just wanted him to do it himself. They wanted him to realize on his own. They wanted him to come up with the idea. They wanted to incept him with the thought that, oh, I should destroy my project so that I can stop a future that I don't want to happen.
You should look up Inception. You should look up the meaning of Inception.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They have
to
be.
It's not what it means in the movie.
No, they have to be.
It's more of a subtle.
Yeah.
Well,
while they're sleeping, not kind of a straightforward asking of.
Hey, don't do it.
Yeah, I'm incepting you. Hey, Chris, here's your right hand. I incepted you.
Oh, you incepted
me to I incepted you to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it works. That's how it works in the real world, unless you have inception machines, which are weird sci-fi machines that they don't explain in that movie, but Ed loves it. So they go and they get Mark Ruffalo's character bails on them, but he has a change of heart, decides to show up and actually help them destroy
the day. Project.
What?
And save the day.
He comes and saves the day.
Couldn't he have just not completed the work then, instead of?
Well, no, because future Catherine Keener would have come back. She already knew how to solve the problem, and remember, future Catherine Keener was there, so she was giving past Catherine Keener the instructions on how to actually do it. If Mark Ruffalo's character hadn't done it,
couldn't she have gone back in time to the past and killed baby Ryan Reynolds?
Yes. But then you'd be a baby murderer, and then you get into the Terminator. It's a whole nother thing. Look, again, if you think about the time travel too much,
think about the travel too much.
It's gonna make you mad.
So we're not gonna watch any more time travel movies, or at least talk about them, because just go back and kill the baby. Just go kill the baby.
You guys had to push my buttons every time you try to bail out these awful writers.
Okay, but what if she kills baby Ryan Reynolds and Ruffalo gets so distraught that he doesn't create the algorithm? Boom. Incepted.
You just put more effort into the story than the writers did. And it took you 2 seconds.
I think so.
I've been sitting on that for 3 full seconds.
Trying to kill you when you were a baby, and your father never completed his work after that. But if she already had the knowledge of how to do it, it wouldn't have mattered, right?
She didn't have the knowledge. She had the knowledge of how to finish it. She couldn't do the whole thing. Yeah, right. You got to be algorithmic.
There's the thing there was like a thing inside the computer that had like a drive or something that only he could do or something. There's
something in there.
Plot reasons, whatever, man.
Yeah. I think Ed was just so mad at that point that he was starting to lose it.
He had a lightsaber.
He did. He had a lightsaber. He had a lightsaber, and he did the thing. The thing that was unnecessary, but it was cool looking.
Looked cool.
It wasn't a lightsaber. It was like a hot knife.
Light staff.
Yeah, hot sword. How much of a saber?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this was just a service. Like, I don't know. Do you want to talk about anything else? Do you just want to go over like your
So I'll
review?
just say that what we just spoke about, that's why the sci-fi stuff, the I don't mind time travel. I get you have to ignore some of the paradoxes, but like the sci-fi technology or like the little explanation they gave of it outside of the time travel piece didn't work for me. It just seemed like sort of lazy, just thrown in there action pieces. That is to say, I thought everything else about this movie was kind of good. I really liked the chemistry with the cast. I thought the heartfelt moments between the different versions of the son and the father really worked. And it was very touching. And I was absolutely stunned, like how much I'm like, wow, that's if they had left some of the dumber parts of this movie out, I'm like, this would be a pretty damn good movie. And like that part surprised me. And then I think that's what made me more frustrated about like sort of the lazy sci-fi, which it was directed fine. The effects look good, but it's like they put no effort into just even making it good or believable.
Okay. What if I told you that this was a PG-13 movie meant for children to watch and enjoy, and not for adults to nitpick and obsess over the technology and time travel about?
Oh, you're
What if I
absolutely
told
wrong.
you to
It was
kiss
made
my
for
ass?
adults. Yes.
What?
Everyone's gonna
I
watch the movie.
believe that children past a certain age want to be pandered to, and I'm a believer in that.
Okay.
And that they can comprehend good storytelling, which again, the sci-fi parts of this for me was not that. Yeah, it's like, ooh, explosions and that. All right, fine.
Okay.
It works for people of a certain age and other ages. That's just one thing that didn't work for me. And that's just one jabroni's opinion. So
Right.
you guys heard my feedback and Chris's retelling of the plot. What did you guys think about the movie?
I was
It was a,
partially drunk, so I enjoyed it while watching it. I did notice that the family dynamic stuck out more for me. Like especially towards the end when Ryan Reynolds sits there and Mark Ruffalo automatically recognizes him as his son as an adult. I was like, oh, that usually doesn't happen in time travel movies. Usually you have to be like, I'm your
The mom
son.
didn't too, which was interesting.
He was
That was an
still
awkward
in.
scene for me.
She was still in grief. She was still much in grief, and she had a date with a guy with this old patch, and her kid's a piece of shit.
She
Well,
was
she's
a
trying
lonely
to
widower.
yes, and she's trying to hold it together while her son's being a dick. But, she had a lot going on. I think if she was clear-headed, she may have recognized him.
Fair point.
Okay, is that better writing than the writers?
You know what? That's more understandable because it's more human.
Human. The effects did look good. I did giggle apart when Zoe like oh she survived for 4 years, like a convenient ejection after being exploded. But like okay, like they just can't have her in flashbacks only. I mean she's Gamora. She needs more lines. Got to find a way to shoehorn that in there.
I mean, it would be a waste
Or
to
Chris,
cast her and not have her do anything.
yes, it'd be a waste to cast her.
Well, how much screen time she actually had?
Not much. I can remember.
She's maybe in about a quarter of the movie,
Really? That
I
much?
would say.
I guess.
Because like
When she saved them, she pretty much saved them, and then a few minutes later, she died again. For real this time.
Before we get into Chris's review, I just wanted to pull this up. This movie is written by you want to guess how many writers?
7.
4 writers.
4.
Four.
Wow.
4 writers on this movie. One of which wrote the Maze Runner movies and Pacific Rim Uprising, which, as you know, is probably one of my
Oh, you
favorite
love that
sequels
one.
of all time. Yeah. one other writer wrote This Is Where I Leave You, Kodachrome, Irreplaceable You, and The Atom Project. So different style of writing. I noticed very family heavy emotional movies. So I'm wondering who wrote what parts of what movie. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? How did you guys like the? Because the time travel has been done so many different ways. Oh, that once they succeeded, they had they had some time to chit chat, and then eventually finished. Time kind of went back.
Caught up.
Yeah, like taking that theory.
I mean, that's something that I think I've seen. That was like a concept in the Legends of Tomorrow kind of show, where like they would go in the past and do stuff, and then the effects weren't immediate. It would just like time had to catch up with everything.
Yeah.
It was like a wave. So I mean, I thought that was a good concept. I think it's a good way for things. I mean, it's the same thing with Back to the Future. Like Marty doesn't disappear immediately once his parents don't meet. He still has time to try and get them back together, because the wave through time doesn't happen immediately. He's got time to like work out when they can meet.
Time.
All right.
Yeah. Takes time for time to time.
Yeah. Timey time.
Time.
Anytime.
Yeah.
So what did you love about the movie, Chris?
What did I love about the movie? I loved everything. Yeah. No, look, it's a PG-13 movie. It's not, I wouldn't go into it going like, oh my God, this is going to be like a blockbuster.
Why is that an excuse, the rating?
Because who the target audience is of a movie is, I think, a big deal. Is a big part of what you can expect out of a movie. If you go and watch Bambi, right? It's a G-rated animated movie. You're not going to sit there and be like, oh, well, like, I didn't like the part about how Bambi didn't get revenge on the hunter for killing his mom. Like, no. It's an animated cartoon movie about, a deer. Like,
right. But
so
I don't base that based off of the rating. It's just quality of story. I don't care what the rating is.
And
I'm not dislike Bambi because Bambi doesn't go on a John Wick revenge story. I don't dislike this movie because there's not blood and gore. I don't like the sci-fi elements of the stories because they put, very little effort into.
Chris, make a note that we have to make a John Wick style Bambi movie.
We have to make a John Wick style.
Write that down.
Animal type sentient revenge movies or revenge comics are in right now.
Yeah.
So you might have.
It doesn't have to be a deer. It doesn't have to be a deer. It could be a deer.
We'll get on it.
Dogs are a big thing right now.
Yeah.
But I think that the target audience of a film does impact what you might get out of a film. The movie was serviceable and entertaining. It wasn't Shakespeare. It wasn't, Dune. It wasn't Macbeth. It wasn't, something that I was like.
Macbeth or Shakespeare, just to say.
Yeah. That's true.
So I'll bring it back to you. Why do the ratings in that sense matter at all?
Because again,
like Incredibles is what, G, maybe?
Yeah.
PG? I think that's a fantastic movie. That takes elements of Watchmen, Fantastic Four, makes it family friendly, but it's a very good story behind it.
I think if you wanted to nitpick a lot of things about Incredibles, you probably could, and you could be like, why did he even bother trying to capture Mr. Incredible? Why didn't he just keep sending those robots into the city? Why didn't he do, why was his plots, the plot of the main character was very, in The Incredibles was a little bit silly. So if you really wanted to nitpick The Incredibles, yeah, there's probably a lot of things to nitpick about it.
Sure, but I don't assign that to the rating of the movie.
No, but I do, and that's why we're different. And I do think that some of the things that you're going to get out of a PG-13 movie, especially one that's direct to Netflix, Ryan, wasn't a huge theatrical release. Like there wasn't a lot of marketing behind this movie, so they probably knew already that it wasn't going to be a great film that was going to win a lot of awards. It wasn't an award-winning story and plot or whatever. It was a fine sci-fi movie about meeting your childhood self, the emotional issues that's going to bring up. There were some fun set pieces where he was with the combat and the fighting. There were no unexpected twists or turns in the movie. It just didn't I wasn't like, oh my god, Zoe Saldana's alive. What? I was like, oh, she's clearly going to be in the past and still alive. Like Ryan Reynolds was so convinced that she went in the past and died, but really you knew that she was going to be alive. Like there weren't any surprises like, oh, the kid is outside, he got captured. Of course he got captured. Like that wasn't going to be a surprise. Nothing was a shocking twist to the movie. It was predictable. It was never in doubt that the good guys were going to prevail. So I didn't hate it, but I'm not like it's like it was a good popcorn. Watch it, enjoy it for like the silliness that's happening. It's like it was. I don't want to say this too lightly, but it's kind of like watching a Fast and the Furious movie. You know that Vin Diesel's never going to be in danger. You know that they're going to get out of the problems alive. There's going to be some cars that are going to crash.
How dare you?
Like I just watched it and enjoyed what was happening, and the emotional stuff that was going on in the movie was very grounded, and I really enjoyed the idea that adult Ryan Reynolds hated the dad because he wasn't there, while young Adam was still enamored by his father, even though he just lost him. Like it showed that kind of bitterness that grew in the character over time, and that was an interesting. While at the same time, young Adam was always upset with the mom, while old Adam was emotionally like, I was such a dick to mom and wanted to get back to that and have that chance to talk to her again and say, hey, I'm sorry, but he couldn't because of the whole time travel thing.
So were you guys thrown off by that dichotomy in this movie? At least for me, like the emotional stuff between the parents and the kid really worked, like to an absurd level. Yeah. I thought that was supremely well done. Whereas maybe because I have high expectations of action or sci-fi, when it's done so just lazily, as a fan of that stuff, it does offend me. Like I can't just, to a point, I can shut off my brain, but when it's like, but there's like no motivation, like not even a half-assed attempt at motivation or explanation or whatever. But I I was just really thrown off by how much I enjoyed the human side of this movie and how I thought it was pretty well written.
I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a great part of the film and an interesting look at time travel, and because you don't really see that kind of look at, like in Back to the Future, he doesn't like think about it, and you kind of get it a little bit in Infinity War, where Robert Downey Jr.'s character goes back in time and sees his father. Iron Man goes back in time and sees his father, and he
never know who they are. They never
know who they are. Yeah, but Tony Stark kind of got that closure with his dad that he wanted, even though he couldn't say who he was or what it was about.
I wonder if they borrowed that, because that didn't even occur to me, but I wonder if that was like an influential scene for this movie.
Very likely. But yeah.
It's weird how we keep going back to Infinity War as an example of good and exciting storytelling and action. Pacing.
So that was Endgame. That scene happening, but yes,
yeah, same thing.
Yeah,
those are really my thoughts. I thought it was a serviceable movie. Am I? Gun to my
Serviceable
head.
is the right word there. That's a good word.
Serviceable is fine. The way that you guys defend serviceable, I'm actually shocked by.
We're not defending any. We're just bringing up counterpoints to points or explanations. It's how discussion.
We just try and explain.
We're not dying on a hill here. We're just giving you our opinions and theories.
Your opinions are different than counterpoints.
Well, our
counterpoints can be our opinions.
Our counterpoints are we're generally just trying to give you the reason why a thing that might seem illogical is logical in the context of why it's happening. Like, why doesn't John Wick shoot everyone in the head? Well, because it's a lot easier to shoot people in the center of mass. Like, that's why.
But then he does shoot
but John Wick can shoot everyone in the head, but like the center of mass is still the best place to shoot somebody.
That part doesn't need to be explained. The part where the main villain has very poor motivation in a story, which you would figure they'd spend more than 30 seconds on a script.
Maybe they're saving that for the sequel, Ed.
Well, maybe
they're saving that for the sequel.
No, but I fully agree that the main villain has weak motivations, but it's enough of a motivation that the good guys in the movie need to stop her. That's all it really needs. The main villain doesn't need a great purpose. I mean, they just need to be evil enough that the good guys need to stop them. And that's what was in this movie. The bad guy was just a bad guy because they were doing something that the good guys needed to stop.
The good guys are good.
Yes. That's it. Anything else?
That's it.
I think that's it. That's it. This is a.
That's it, dude.
Hey, how many movie? It worked. It worked on some levels. Didn't work on a lot of levels, but I had fun. I'm not gonna rewatch this movie. Maybe if like.
Well, I was gonna be a question. Would you not rewatch it on your own, but if like you were hanging out with someone, or someone's like, oh, I haven't seen the Adam Project, would you be like, okay, put it back on, and be like, no, I refuse.
Yeah, I'd watch it again. Like if my.
Oh, go ahead.
If I was with like my nieces or younger cousins or something, they were like, "Hey, let's watch a movie." I'd be like, "Oh, here's a new movie that came out. Let's watch it. It's PG-13. It's fine. You can watch it."
Hey, what if you were with your sisters and they were like, "Oh, let's watch the Adam Project"? Would you try hard to convince them otherwise?
I don't think they'd want to.
It's just theoretical. Just saying, just like they brought up.
Theoretical. I don't have people in my life that would want to watch this movie. I wouldn't want to rewatch it. I don't think I'd mind if somebody wanted to watch it. I might watch it again. But I also wouldn't recommend it either.
Yeah, I don't know if that would come up as a recommendation. Yeah. If someone was like, "Hey, I want to watch a Ryan Reynolds movie," I'd be like,
"Future 1, 2, or 3."
Someone said, "Hey," if someone said, "Hey, what's a Ryan Reynolds movie I should watch?"
Just Friends, Deadpool 2.
Was that one? Was that one where he hears the animals and he
the voices?
Yeah, that one.
Maybe
that's the first one. That's probably the first Ryan Reynolds movie I would recommend to someone.
If you're looking for a PG-13 Ryan Reynolds movie,
exactly. It's not the typical Ryan Reynolds movie you'd expect to watch, which these days are like an action/comedy or. Well, I don't think it really does romance anymore, right?
I don't think so.
No, Did you watch Free Guy yet, Chris?
Nope.
Okay. I mean, Deadpool is romantic.
Are you about to say that's a romance movie?
I was going to say there's romance in it.
Is it a romance movie?
No, but I thought you were asking about plot like lines, not overall romantic movies. No. Other than that, what was the last one he did?
Stop with that thing.
What was the last one he did with? Was it Sandra Bullock, that one? Was that his last romantic?
Maybe. I can't remember the name of it. Probably. Yeah. Maybe I should just watch our movies for well-written movies.
Listen, it's fine to watch well-written movies, but it's okay to just turn off your brain sometimes and,
I
Have a
agree,
chuckle,
but that's
watch
not
some
the
action.
argument that was being made with the
Okay.
rating system. So,
All right.
yeah.
Oh, the rating argument. Okay. All right, go ahead, Chris. Are you gonna wrap this up?
Yeah, let's wrap this up. So we'll do final. Yeah, this thing. We'll do final ratings out of 100 out of 10. Let's go. Out of 100.
Ed goes first.
Bad, but
Ed,
I'll watch it.
Ed goes
Ed
first.
goes first.
Out of
Gun to your head.
10,
Out of 10 up to decimals.
6.
6. Okay.
6. Yeah.
Will?
I'll go 5.5. 5.5.
5.5.
Jesus Christ.
Wow. I mean, I'd give this one a 7.
Holy McGillicuddies.
That's where I am, right where I won't actively rewatch it myself. But if someone's like, "Have you seen Adam Project? Let's watch it," I'll be like, "Okay, toss it on."
It's crazy. It sounds like I'm eviscerating the movie entirely, whereas I just had problems with parts of it. And Will, twice in a row, has undercut me the score completely.
The scale of my rating
Why wouldn't
is
it be?
beyond the concept of your minds.
Shut off your brain. It's a perfectly fine movie. 5.4.
Yeah. Well,
It's a piece of dog shit rating, but it's a fun movie.
Not a piece of dog shit rating.
Just saying, the way you were describing this movie sounded like you enjoyed it.
Well, then you weren't listening to the subtext.
It is true. Your rating was just too low, man.
I just wanted to say subtext.
Well, we are the Flim Flam Film Fans, and we just watched The Adam Project. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell button for notifications about all of the things that we just watched, because we are the Flim Flam Film Fans. Good night.
Good night.
So long.